All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Dameron?
Here.
Mr. Spence is absent. Mr. DeStefano?
Here.
Administrator?
Present.
Mayor Petrella?
Present.
Solicitor Lynn?
Present.
Fiscal Officer Denise Jean Angels present. Dr. Scarpone?
Present.
Mr. Mattern?
Here.
And Mr. Merriman?
Here.
Now we will stand for a moment of silence in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting on April 7th, 2022?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
And Mr. Merriman?
Yay.
All right. Is there anyone wishing to speak before council tonight? Go ahead, Mr. Lockhart.
Good evening, Council. Robert Lockhart, your representative to BHJ and Steel Valley Transportation Authority. I'm just going to make a report with regard to a couple of meetings of BHJ on April 12th and April 20. April 12th, it was an open house and annual fair at BHJ. Public is welcome. You have the opportunity to be advised of the operation of BHJ, basically, and what they do. It's open to the public, so annually, if you have a chance to attend and you're interested in BHJ activities in the area of the three counties, it's beneficial. On the 20th, had a meeting, the regular meeting, and a couple things as far as locally, Steubenville, Route 7, that's in the process of property acquisition in connection with the widening of Lover's Lane, and it's projected to be done and started by this year and finish up sometime next year, 2023. And Mike Dolak, the engineer for Steubenville, presented that information. With regard to other situations, there was a couple of resolutions with regard to self-certification that BHJ must go through annually, and the other was with regard to resolutions concerning projects and budgetary matters. Other than that, the bridge is still pending. It's going along slowly. Decking on both sides is being completed at this time. Other than that, there was not much more than that at BHJ meeting this month here. I just attended the meeting of Steubenville Transit Authority in Steubenville today. There were several things that were passed there with regard to continued expansion of the service of other entities interested. One of which last month, Washington County presented information to Steel Valley with regard to their desire to join the transit system. That has to be worked out. That's being done now. Wells Township, brilliant. They just submitted a letter with regard to interest in joining the transit system. They have to go through the process of both of them like we did, in presenting the information to the people in their community so they can be aware of the potential service by Steel Valley, but they must also be informed with regard to a levy they must pass like we did. And once that levy is passed, that generates money for that entity to become part of Steel Valley, and it allows them to have membership on the board also. So that's two new areas of consideration that Steel Valley is to be has to address here in the near future. It's a continual expanding service with regard to Steel Valley. Even thoughts in the future of going down to Morgantown, West Virginia. So there's, with regard to now, they have, I think that one of the new improved areas is living here in Steubenville, getting a ride to the airport, and a very minimal amount of money if you have the pass. And they will then later, when you get back, they'll pick you up there at the airport and bring you back home. It saves a lot of money. You look at it, parking, time, allocation, and it's a service being afforded right now to certain people who want to take advantage of it. That's one part of it. But other than the situation I mentioned there, there is a new approach we have to entertain Steel Valley with regard to a new app and a new website with regard to presenting information regarding Steel Valley and its operation and what's afforded to the public. That's being done, but it has to be a slow process, and we're trying to look at widening the consideration of entities that would apply for providing this service. It's rather expensive, and it's a matter of getting the right outfit and organization to present their program. And my thought was get the program presented based upon our needs and keep the cost down. That's the big issue with regard to Steel Valley's got some money, but not a fortune like a big city. So that's pending with regard to that. With regard to, there are two pieces of property in Steubenville that the Transit Authority has obtained over the years. And the purpose of these two sites is the future sites of charging, storage facility, parking, and charging facilities for, in the future, buses that will be obtained. And that's looking more like that in the future with regard to the government and their consideration of pushing toward the bus services and being electrified. And so that's in the future. But in connection with those two pieces of property, grants have been obtained to have the two properties examined by an outside agency to determine any type of pollution or tanks below ground. That's being done. It's been completed. There have been issues determined concerning both sites. And now today we discussed the possibility of the need for grants to obtain money to take care of the sites that have been established. There is pollutant with regard to gasoline and oil residue in the ground, plus the tanks in itself. That costs, that's a need to replace the dirt and get rid of all the contaminant. That's being done. The grants have to be obtained for that in the future. And the thought is we're trying to get that accelerated to the point because grants now for taking care of this situation are available. If you wait a year or so, we may lose those grants and all the money that we need to get rid of the problem and eventually have these sites available for use for the public transportation and electrification of the bus service and all that. So that's being done. It's been ongoing. We had a long time, about 3 years just to get the title things straightened out, ownership-wise. But that's the future, and the EPA is aware on the state level, federal level, that our goal is to utilize the sites for the future with regard to electric bus service and all that. So it's a slow process, but it's being completed. With regard to the buses daily, just to let you know that these buses are cleaned up very well with regard to utilization. After the service, they're maintained, sanitized completely, and that's an important aspect of a benefit to the community, because that way they can be assured that there's no residue left, and the possibility of projecting the COVID virus situation. So they take pride in doing this and keeping these buses clean. With regard to, there have been 4 route changes up to date. 1 is still pending. These route changes are for the purpose of modifying not only the street, the directions and all that, but modifying the services time-wise. One example recently I was aware of today, that the people out on the industrial park on State Route, County Road 43, that's the first one before you get out to right after K's. That's where the county engineer is. That's the area. There's an industrial park there that have several people working there, and they approached Steel Valley to a one-time stop during the day or in the afternoon to pick up and bring in people that work at those facilities. That was entertained, and it was brought to our attention, and Steel Valley accepted the challenge, and those people were very happy that that was completed. That's one aspect of it. They're looking in the future of also trying to provide more service to the Amazon facility near Oakland, PA. That outfit there is desperately trying to get people to come to work there. And now we're trying to provide that service by bus with all of ours are handicapped facility-wise to get people to Amazon for purpose of employment, which starts out as very good salaries in that and a lot of benefits in connection with that job. So we're trying to address that continuously. With regard to the overall service in itself, it's improved an awful lot. The service even to Robinson Township has expanded tremendously to 2021. Of course, you had the virus problem, but this year, 601, there's an improvement of about 712% increase in ridership just over that period of time to Robinson. And that gets a lot of people there and back and forth. With regard to Wintersville, we're still holding well. With regard to a positive, we're 125% over 2021 and 22. So we're holding our own here for the people in the community. As far as the issue concerning Weirton and the memorandum of understanding between them and our transit authority, they have a problem over there basically by some individuals on the board holding up and only offering one site on to provide a stop to pick up people. They don't want us going through their town picking up passengers to go to Robinson and all the other areas that we have benefit them if they use the service. Last 2 meetings ago, the memorandum was denied by Weirton Transit, so we no longer going to have any type of consideration with regard to providing service to them. We even offered have the people come over to our modal site here in Steubenville on 5th Street, and we'll handle their needs accordingly. But that hasn't materialized into anything. We had a video meeting with representatives of the federal government, Region 5, that's Chicago, and that individual there was aware of the situation in Weirton concerning their lack of service. And we had a nice discussion video-wise with this individual and board members. And he in turn said he would contact Region 3 representatives on the federal level regarding, because West Virginia is in Region 3, Philadelphia, to see if there's some financial consideration that Weirton Transit would need to improve their service. The problem with Weirton, years ago, they tried a levy to pass a levy turned down by the people. My opinion, they did a terrible job with regard to presenting it to the public. Because I was involved in that process when we did this and when we did the read, I think many years ago. You got to get out to the people and present the facts of them and the benefits to them. That's pending with regard to those two regions, trying to get this program off the ground for the benefit of people in Weirton. With regard to other things that were available, at the meeting, in that there is a consideration, I think it was brought up by Councilman Madden before, a question about the possibility of an increase in fare. Based upon the current situation, there is discussion with regard to the possibility in the future of a minimal increase, and that's just basically because of the gasoline situation. We have an abundant number of drivers. We have drivers pending consideration regarding employment, so we're good with regard to that aspect. As far as gasoline-operated vehicles, that's going to be coming to an end, I think. Until the grants are available, we can acquire new electric buses. And that's why those two pieces of property are being pushed with regard to getting them developed so we can put in those facilities in the future. But other than that, the service is good. Advertisement of the services is continually being addressed, and hopefully in the future that will continue to be improved. Last thing is, there's a Title VI, and this is part of it. Every year this has to be approved by our board, and basically it covers a multitude of areas of operation, from staffing, activities of disciplinary action, employee staff matters, a multitude of things. And it was passed tonight, and we have that completed so that it can be sent in. Otherwise, that would interrupt the funding that we get from the federal government if you don't get that thing passed. And it was revived from 3 years ago and updated. So quite a few things did acquired today with regard to Steel Valley. Any other questions or? Okay.
I have three
Thanks.
Mr. Lockhart, I have a couple questions for you real quick. You said Washington County. I'm assuming that's Pennsylvania?
Washington, PA.
Washington, PA?
Yeah, right,
Okay.
yeah.
And you mentioned the airport, that they are currently doing this, or they're going to start providing
They are.
They
They
are.
go to Robinson, and from Robinson over to the airport, in our estimation, isn't that big a factor, but to afford it to our public here.
without any increase? Without any increase to their passes?
Yeah, I think it's $5. If you come from Steubenville all the way to the airport, if you don't have the pass, $30 pass.
Okay.
So you imagine what you would have to pay if you would stay there a week, out of town, and parking would be astronomical. So for $10,
Yeah,
They're
because the
picked up and
certificates
brought.
are outrageous up there. That's why I wondered.
So the overall operation now with regard to the form route changes, that's not geographical change, it's time factors. Like
Right.
has to address some, like eventually you have buses coming out here at 8 o'clock at night. It's not just 8 o'clock in the morning till 5. They're addressing all kinds of situations for the benefit of the people in this area and others that utilize the service, time-wise.
And the Weirton stop in Harmon Creek is no longer a stop then, right now?
Where?
We have no stop at Harmon Creek there? You had mentioned that before.
Colville, no.
Okay.
There is no agreement because they opted not to afford us anything more.
Okay.
And I went through the security aspect, and the site itself not conducive to people, in our opinion. So until that's resolved, or we could get a better site, as far as up on Three Springs, something like that, where it's better parking for people, we're not gonna do anything. I strongly disagreed with what they wanted over there prior to what they accepted and had going on before. Worked out well. Then all of a sudden, they got one situation that developed, and I don't want to get into names or sitting in there, but this thing went just completely shut down. Didn't work out at all. They just won't accept the fact that we won't utilize that one site. So,
Okay, thank you.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lockhart. Is there anyone else? Come on up.
I'll be brief.
State your name,
I just want to say
please.
that the Village of Wintersville did a phenomenal job. We had a major water break on Parkview in my neighborhood, and it was 11 o'clock at night. They worked all night. My only concern, and I mentioned this when I came in to a couple of you, I didn't see any communication about boil order afterwards. We were quite concerned because we woke up, we had brown water coming out of our spigots and our commodes. There was obvious there had been a water break. I mean, through the night, we had no water, then we did have water in the morning. So I looked on the local media. I don't know what the protocol is, if there's always a boil order, I don't know.
There was a boil order, it's still in place.
Okay, but where would we
News,
notify?
news from Wintersville Facebook page.
Okay, because we looked on the local media, and then it's called News from Wintersville?
I think, what's that page, what's the exact name?
I don't know, because I looked on different social media pages for Wintersville, and I couldn't see anything. So that was just my concern, was how do we communicate when there is a boil order, and for how long?
Okay.
So I didn't know if that's something that maybe could be discussed or some,
Yes, we do communicate that
Okay.
through the admins of the page to let them know
Okay.
to put it out to the public.
okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Beth, at one point there was talk about having like a robocall
Yeah.
develop within Wintersville. I can't remember the details or why it didn't work, but we had discussions about gathering key contacts or phone numbers, and if there was a water break or an event like that, we would send out a robo message, and I don't exactly know what happened.
Privacy, is that right?
Privacy, and a lot of people won't give us their phone numbers.
Right.
Yeah. I bet you
So-
Beth would give yours.
They were calling me anyway, because everybody was
Yeah.
calling,
Is
like, I got
it
brown
something we can report to News 9? Because they carry
Yeah.
all that stuff any other time for any of the other ones.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, might want to do.
Yeah, because I looked on TOV's website,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I just assumed, but again, I don't know for how long, you know what I mean, but yeah. I'll
It's
get
at
on
least
that.
24 hours.
Is it 24?
Right now, yeah.
Okay.
Once Justin gets testing back, we'll know if it's 48 hours.
Okay, and like I said, I looked on some of the, there's so many Facebook pages, Wintersville, this, that, and the other, but I may not have looked at the right one, but it is just a gap of communication, especially with people that are elderly and that, a lot of times, not everybody's on social media, so. And in this case, you could have had a water break and never known it, because it was so much in the middle of the night, so.
Just to follow up on that, many Wintersville websites, I had exchanges with Keith back there, and he volunteered to help, dummy it down to my level of what's out there, because I really don't understand the whole concept. But I'm sure Keith will give me maybe an update, and maybe even put on an update himself here soon over where to go to and what we can post
Right.
on there. And
I
so,
think if the community was just educated more on, this is
Sure.
where you can go to check, if you experience low water pressure, then you can go here and look and see, oh, there's a water break.
Might be something we address at our little booth for Wednesdays in Wintersville, just informational.
yeah, something we could
Well,
put
and
on the
again,
water bill
people-
as well.
Yeah, on the water, yeah, that's a really good idea. And even the phone thing, we were talking about, maybe if it's a Wintersville thing, do you want to sign up for it to be notified?
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Just something to, like I said, the water department did fantastic. I mean, they worked all night,
Thank you.
so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead, Joel. State your name.
Hi, for those of you that don't know me, well, that's loud. My name is Joel. I'm owner of Exquisite Creations and one of the coordinators for Wednesday in Wintersville.
Joel, I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
Yes.
I'm going to recuse myself from any comments due to the fact that I am on the committee for Wednesdays in Wintersville. So go ahead, Joel.
Okay. I just wanted to give a little bit of an update so that everybody is aware what we have going on. The event will be the first Wednesday of every month from May until October. The times are 4:30 to 8:30 p.m. The only exception is September and October. For safety concerns, we reduced that from 4:30 to 6:30, just so nobody's out in the dark. We have several themes for each of the months, ranging from a growing community where we're hopefully going to work with our beautification committee and having people bring in plants and donate those so that those could go to projects around the city to beautify the city. We have a 50s flashback theme, Christmas in July, Dog Days of Summer, September, which is a salute to our heroes, so we're hopefully going to have some of our police force out there and first responders. And October is our thankful theme to do a food drive. So we're trying to do different activities for each event that coordinate with all of those themes. Currently, we have a total of 33 craft vendors, 12 promotional vendors that will be mostly at Wintersville United Methodist Church that will offer activities for children and those kind of things. 10 food trucks. It was a concern, I know, about insurance. That has been passed. We do have a $1 to $2 million policy, I believe, so we have coverage for that. We have sponsorship opportunities for different things also. And if anybody has any questions or would like to get involved in any way, you can email us at wednesdayinwintersville@gmail.com. Okay. Any questions?
When are your meetings, Joel?
They are randomly. It just kind of depends on the availability of members. That's why the best way to get a hold of us is through the email.
Do you have a website that posts the time of the meetings?
The main form of communication is our Facebook page.
Is the Facebook
And that's where
page?
all of the announcements are made. And our rain plan is the final call will be made 9 a.m. the morning of the event, whether we will go or not go.
Do you announce your meetings at all through the Herald Star at all?
No.
Listen, I appreciate the movement that you guys have going. I think you guys have a good thing going. It's an opportunity to bring the community together and like to be informed of these things. I know last year was baby steps.
Yes.
Okay? So, and it's also a learning curve when you take on something of this
Absolutely.
big. And I think we are all willing to work with you. And if you have any questions, make sure you please involve Chief Vanderborn over there for any kind of security issues that we may need or you have on that support. Keep up the good work. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you, Joel.
All right. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
forgot to bring it up. Steel Valley has a service now for Wednesday and First Friday. Steubenville, their activity in downtown. They provide a free bus service for people to want to attend either one of those on Wednesday or Friday based on the time. But it's a free service and it's available on the website.
Okay.
Okay?
Good to know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wednesdays too, for that, still valid.
Anybody else wishing to appear? All right, moving on. I will turn it over to Denise to read the ordinances.
We have three ordinances tonight. The first is ordinance number 2022-04, an ordinance amending section 505.071, subsection C3 and D3 of the Codified Ordinances of the Village of Wintersville, Ohio, which address cruelty to companion animals. This is the second read. Ordinance number 2022-05, an ordinance providing for pay raises for village police officers and increasing the starting pay rate for the village police officers. This is the second read. And we have ordinance number 2022-06, an ordinance amending Chapter 151.02C of the Codified Ordinances of the Village of Wintersville, Ohio, to include Juneteenth as a paid holiday. This is the second read. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Denise. There are no reports or announcements tonight, as this is our second meeting of the month. On to the mayor's report. First, I would like to thank the Wintersville Fire Department. Our crew did an excellent job. I believe it was on Easter. They were helping out with a fire in Steubenville. Great job as usual. I'd like to congratulate the entire staff, the students, and everyone at Indian Creek High School. I attended their open house and just want to send a congratulations. The new school was, it's really amazing. Everyone, if you get time, you should try to take advantage of making a stop there and try to see the place. It's really very modern and something to be proud of in our community. Next, I want to thank Congressman Bill Johnson. He stopped and spoke to some of the staff here and discussed with myself and our police officers and council members some of our needs and avenues of funding here for the village. So I want to thank him for stopping by. I also want to thank, as Beth mentioned earlier, Justin, Teddy, and Randy on the water line break on Parkview. I got the call last night. They did an excellent job working all hours to get it repaired and get everything fixed over there. Next, I spoke to the State Ethics Commission to make sure this was approved. My company will be donating new mulch for the village building this year. And again, I did speak to the Ethics Commission before having this approved for the donation. And lastly, the big news I have for tonight is we have a new business coming to town. Wash Right Car Wash is going to be investing $3 million to put in a new car wash. I spoke to Roger Beck, the head of their operations. Once they get open, they will be employing 10 full-time and 5 part-time people. So this is great for the community, as it's a major multi-million-dollar investment here in the village of Wintersville. And it's great because we're bringing jobs right here to Wintersville. They purchased the land right along the side of, right after you pass Dunkin' Donuts there, the lot that Cedar One had. And we want to thank Cedar One. They did a great job getting the deal done. So thank you, Cedar One. And that is all I have tonight. So we will move on to the administrator's report.
First item in your packet, council, is I'd like to request permission to bid our 2022 resurfacing project. It will include Warren Lane, LEA, Terrace, Grove Street, and the parking lot. The plans are complete. We're working to put together the bid packet and specs and advertising now.
I'll put forth the motion to request permission for the 2022 resurfacing project.
A second.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yeah. Second item, I want to request permission to bid a 2005 GMC dump truck. We're requesting a starting minimum bid of $1,500. Jake, I wasn't sure if we needed an ordinance to do this, or if just a voice vote of council would give me permission to do this.
How much is it, you said?
1,500 is the minimum bid we're asking. But it'll be sealed, closed bids.
No, if you're bidding, I think you can do it, and we can do the
Okay.
ordinance later.
Okay, thank you. Next item, I'm requesting, a couple meetings ago, we asked for a skid steer to clean up some brush on our municipal park area here below the building. After talking with Vernon, cutting those trees down are still going to leave roots and they would resprout, and we really wouldn't be able to mow it. So we have a plan to rent a D6 dozer where he can literally push all those out, get it clean and reshape part of the bank so we can extend the top flat part, be able to mow it, and then mow also over the bank down to the road. And while he has the dozer here, this is for a week, we'll reshape the road a little bit too, haul some extra millings down there that we have stored, and just kind of get it in a little better shape. So as we proceed a little more with the recreation plans, at least we can drive down there and view the area instead of walking down over the hill and killing ourselves. But I would need permission to spend $2,950 to rent the dozer.
And that's a week rental?
That's a week rental, yes.
And will you spend all week here, or are we going to be able to use this at
We have a
other
couple other
locations?
lift station roads we might be
Perfect.
able to do. Again, it's going to be weather permitting,
related.
but we're going to try and knock this out.
Where are you renting it from, General?
Pergolines.
Oh, Bergen.
Yes.
I put forth the motion to go ahead and pursue this D6 dozer rental for road and park area work for a week.
I will second that.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yeah. And second item, good news for the beautification committee. We did receive a JB Green Team grant award of $5,000. There will be some documentation that the village needs to do in a completion form, some other things, but you all have a copy of the agreement in your packets and what the other requirements will be. So I'm assuming as soon as we receive a signed copy of that back, we can begin to order and get the other plans in line for that. And then also we did submit, Carmen hand-delivered a funding request to the county commissioners for recreational projects. That's the last sheet in your packet there. They want a couple of estimates that we had on a couple of these items, but that's been submitted also, so we're good to go. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Walt. Anyone have any unfinished business?
I did have a question with Walt. On that recreation thing, that tot lot, is that the Garden Drive?
Yes.
Over there?
Correct.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay.
Does anyone have any unfinished business? All right, on to new business.
The
Thank you.
beautification committee met Monday evening, and we have, we've gotten the quote on the veterans banners. We're waiting on a quote for the brackets. I've started on a flyer for ours, which we will have available at the Wintersville, Wednesdays in Wintersville booth that will be at the corner by Joel's Creations. We still going to be there? Yep. Again, we're going to have a booth there for the beautification committee. We will have information as to the projects that we're working on, pursuing. So we'll have a suggestion box. We will have a donation box. But we want to specifically state it's not necessarily a question and answer or a complaint booth. We'll emphasize that a little bit. But we will have those. We're working to coordinate a drop-off date for our community garden. We kind of threw out that we might try to have everybody meet at the gazebo on Winters Drive as our location. But we've got to coordinate a date as far as what we want to do. We even mentioned if we have our community service workers on that date, that we could even designate, where they're going at that point, and we could, transport and have them put it in right then and there if we can. That needs a little work yet. We gave Walt the request for the garbage cans. We were unable to find something that was actually a full unit with a planter on top of the garbage cans, so we are going to modify our plans. We're going to get the garbage cans that have the side door opening with a flat top that we can actually attach a planter to, even if we have to bolt it down or something, but that will add weight to the garbage cans and hopefully keep them intact. And then the planters will have we hope it's beautiful foliage, and we'll have some community service people that will be able to do some maintenance on those. That's all I got.
All right. Anybody else for new business?
I have several things. The first thing I absolutely have to do is to welcome the young lady in the second row. Welcome to the meeting. It's very exciting to see someone here of that age so well behaved, and very good job. Very good job. Thank you, honey. This. Uh-oh. Very good. Okay. In all seriousness, at one point we used to have Indian Creek Civics class or whatever come on in. We used to have a couple dozen kids that come on in and participate. It would be nice to see them come back on in and see their local government in action. But congratulations again, honey. A couple meetings ago, I asked about a count of parking tickets that were assigned or assessed during the winter episodes. Did we ever get a count of those? Could you just put it on the unfinished business or give it to me next time? I'm fine with that. The next thing, I missed the Bill Johnson meeting, but when Bill Johnson just ran or was out for his initial term, he actually came over to Weirton, West Virginia, where I work, and he understands that the local economy isn't separated or distinct between this thing we call the Ohio River. We're very intertwined. And he came over to our location, and we had maybe 5 or 6 voters from Ohio, but he talked to everybody. And Mr. Johnson has a good view of this Ohio Valley, and I look forward to maybe giving him a follow-up phone call. He's a good guy, and from when I talked to him 4 years ago, whatever it was, maybe even longer than that, he had a firm grasp of this area, had a firm grasp of what we need. So I appreciate Bill coming on over, and I'll follow up with a phone call on that. Congratulations on this car wash coming to town. That's a good job by all who enticed them to come on in. Very good. The last meeting, I requested this Larry Taylor from Treble Energy to give us some information, which he promised to have the next day. I can't find it in the book. Have we received anything from Larry?
I haven't received anything.
We haven't received anything. Well, is there any kind of contract that we're tied into with this representative, Treble Energy?
No.
No. So we could source another supplier if that's the case. My concern here is for about 4, maybe even 5 years, I have requested information from Treble Energy regarding how much money we are saving the community in this entity we call Wintersville home, of what we're saving. And I've been asking that for 4 years, 5 years, and I have gotten the same response and the same promise and no deliver. And we now got recommended to get into a company, Volunteer Energy, which has filed bankruptcy. Okay, I am all for supporting the administration or whoever makes the decision that we look elsewhere other than Treble Energy for our services. I think it's a nice service. I just don't think Treble Energy has shown what our residents really need.
I do have his email, and I can Monday email him.
I would probably get the same response I've got for the last 5 years. Thank you.
Okay.
The last thing how's the bulk? It's hard to believe. June is like 5 weeks away, and that's our bulk trash pickup. How's that looking?
Well, we haven't really started anything yet. I mean, Vern just makes the call, and we'll get the roll-off boxes in. I can't remember if Debbie will try and put it on the June bills, but they get several calls a day asking when the pickup is, and so
I agree.
They are
looking forward
aware.
to it. Yeah.
And probably at the maybe next couple meetings, we'll put it on the agenda just to keep mentioning it, because also at the end of May, we'll have the semi-annual hydrant flushing of the entire village, so that'll be the weekend before Memorial Day. So there'll be kind of a busy time there, end of May, 1st of June.
So we look good, and it's looks very promising. We don't foresee any hiccups. Okay,
No.
that's a nice answer. The last meeting, I asked the administration and the mayor specifically to consider sending a letter to Representative Ferguson expressing their concerns with Ohio Bill 563. Have we sent him a letter or anything on this concern?
No, that was the one I told you. That's the bill he's sponsoring.
So
I did speak to him. He said he will come here and talk if anyone has questions.
Boy, that would be greatly appreciated, because I'm getting more and more concerns from residents throughout the village on this. I was emailed several articles that I'd like to take the next 2 minutes and talk about. From the Pittsburgh Tribune of this week, police said multiple firearms, including a rifle, were used at Sunday shooting in an Airbnb party that left 2 teens dead, 9 other people wounded. Ballistic evidence suggests that more than one person fired shots when the gunfire broke out at a party shortly after 12:30. The casings found at the rental unit are from a number of guns, including handguns and an AR-15 style weapon. Investigators have said there's about 200 people at the party, many of whom were under 21. An officer responded to the party about 11 p.m. for a noise complaint, saw nothing indicating trouble. There was nothing unusual to indicate that something was wrong. However, 90 minutes later, the shooting started. At least 50 shots were fired inside the unit and just as many fired outside. Matthew Steffi Ross and Jaden Brown, both 17, died. There's a follow-up article from this Kim Lyons. She did a quick synopsis of this exact shooting. She continues, in June of 2019, Pittsburgh was the site of a fatal shooting in an Airbnb rental in the Hill District neighborhood where 2 people were shot and killed. In November 2019, the Airbnb organization banned party houses after 5 people died in a shooting in a large Halloween party in California. Airbnb created a policy in November of 2019, a policy that prohibits gathering of more than 16 people and stipulates that any evidence of parties can incur a $500 fee. The policy includes a curfew of 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. and restricts entire home listings made by people under the age of 25. I wonder if these self-imposed restrictions of 16 people or a $500 fee seem to be appropriate by the parents of those Matthew Steffi Ross and Jaden Brown. Also last week, officials in Florida are seeking to identify a suspect caught in surveillance videos related to a shooting that took the life of a 29-year-old man at an Airbnb. Xavier Antonio Johnson was shot and killed on April 13th, 8 days ago. He and other men were trafficking and selling marijuana from a house that they've been in, renting since April 8th. Airbnb in Elk Grove, April 9th. Elk Grove out in California. Detectives believe 10 to 15 people at a house party. 18-year-old shot and killed. Airbnb's deeply saddened by the events that took place here 3 years after their imposed bans and restrictions. But we seriously, we take these reports very seriously of open investigation. 6 people and 12 injured in Sacramento just this year, and 19-year-old in Nashville was part of an armed robbery at an Airbnb. Listen, this is a serious issue, okay? Very serious. And this does not reflect the makeup we want of Wintersville. This does not represent the integrity of Wintersville. And I am a little frustrated with any wait-and-see kind of attitude that we have moving forward with these Airbnbs. At this point, I would also remind council that last summer we had an issue with the Airbnb on Garden Drive. Our police force went, did some nice investigations. They got some cameras, or get some pictures. They got some interviews. I think Mr. Vanderborn was involved with some of these interviews and collection of statements. We should have those readily available and accessible. I would really want to recommend and put forth a motion at this point in time that we go ahead and create a resolution to send to Representative Ferguson on our concern with Ohio Bill 568. I have many articles that can support our concerns. We have many reports and pictures that can support our concerns. And listen, we have someone to protect, and it was the very first person I brought up, okay? We have responsibility to protect this village, safety, all right? We have right to protect them, AR-15s, okay? So I'd like to put forth a motion to draft a letter. I will help support it, to send to Mr. Ferguson, and another representative who's drawing this up is a Fowler Arthur, which caught me by surprise, a little bit by that name. But I'm putting forth that motion. I would really appreciate a second.
Second.
Can we have a vote on that, please?
You can. Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yeah.
The last thing I have right here is a great thanks and gratitude towards council tonight for supporting this action. Again, honey, I'd like to see you again next meeting.
She's chilly, ignoring you.
Yeah, she don't want to be here. But thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Jason, do you still want me to ask Ronnie to come and speak?
I think that would be, probably his, nice interest.
Okay. All right. Anybody else for new business? All right. Denise, any transfers?
No, sir.
All right. Can we get a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yeah.
All right. Our next meeting will be May 5th, 2022 at 7 p.m. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.